Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's online safety update for February 2025. My name is Mr. Abraham, and I'm going to be going through all sorts of different things that are happening in the online world at the moment and how this relates to you as parents and carers, but also for your children as well. So, firstly, this month, there's been a little bit of a study done between loot boxes and gambling as well. I've mentioned it in a previous video about loot boxes being a form of gambling or very close to a form of gambling. And loot boxes, if you didn't know what they are real life money being spent on in game purchases, and these give out random rewards, a little bit like a lottery in a sense, where they can get outfits, costumes, avatars, weapons if they're playing those types of games, and it's all random. So the way that the loot boxes work, you don't know what you're getting. Now, the study has shown that half of people who actually buy these loot boxes in game actually display real life levels of gambling and addiction problems as well as a result of this, which obviously for our children and young people is a concerning statistic that's coming out now. It's not actually classified as gambling by law or by any sort of guideline regulations, but the lines are so blurred that there is a big crossover in terms of what loot boxes are and what constitutes as a gambling by a definition. Um, Loot boxes, they encourage impulse buying, the thrill of potentially getting something good for your character or for your game to help you progress. It will that it's there's almost like that chase for it every single time. And because of that, it can become addictive as well. So addiction-like behaviours can result from buying these loot boxes. So as parents and carers, I would urge you to limit and use some parental controls on in-app and in-game purchases. We've seen hundreds of pounds being spent on them in case studies that we've seen online, and there is actually some people out there recommending that regulations are put in that loot boxes are only being able to be purchased for children or for people aged 18 and over. We will see what comes of that. I personally think it would be a really good move, um, but as with everything, we have to rely on the developers of the games and the big tech companies to enforce that really. So, secondly, smartphones. I seem to talk about smartphones and the addiction of them and young people having them quite regularly through these videos, and that's because it's so important. Um, there's a local area in Solihull they've collaborated, and there's a number of schools. I think it's 49 schools that have started like this trial, and their message is for the parents to pause before buying the smartphones. Um, the trial in secondary schools, over half of the year sevens opted in, so actually handed in their mobile phones to the school office, and they stayed there locked away for a number of weeks. And the participants who did that actually reported lower levels of stress, lower levels of anxiety, and it was a real positive. Um, there's so much research out there that shows that excessive usage can impact negatively on mental health and learning as well. And again, it becomes addictive. It's that constant scroll on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, playing the games, whatever it may be. It's constant for them. And actually, by not having that, you are then opening up to the whole wide world that is around them. Um, Now, obviously, it feels a little bit counterintuitive because the children are growing up in a digital world. When I was younger, smartphones weren't even around. But actually, children growing up now, they are living in the world where smartphones they're a staple of most households. But it's what age is the best age to introduce children and young people to them. This study is suggesting age 14 is the best age to give them to the children. Other studies are suggesting 16. Um, but smartphones, again, it won't be a shock to most of you, impact negatively on behaviour as well. In most of the cases that this Solihull trial actually found, any unkind and bullying type behaviour that were happening in school, it was actually becoming as a result of the online incidents and online things that were happening as well. And that statistic right down at the bottom of the screen there, 97% of 12-year-olds now own a smartphone, which again is a big, big number. It's huge. But thinking about the flip side of that, how negatively could that be impacting the younger generation now? And at what point are we going to be willing to stop that? Now, I'm not saying don't let your children have smartphone. It's just I'm bringing you the news that there's a trial going on, and this is the research that's been found. Smartphones and phones generally can be a really positive impact, way to keep in touch with one another, way to access things on the internet as quickly as like just by speaking into Siri or Alexa or whatever mobile device that has within the smartphone. But it's just something to consider. Pause before buying children's smartphones at such a young age and think about negative impact that they can have on mental health as well. Now, Meta, which is the overarching company of Facebook and Instagram, they've had a bit of a fact checking system whereby they had independent people checking the facts of posts, and it was quite a big task. They're now changing that to something similar to what X, formerly known as Twitter, has, and that is a community note system where comments can be made on videos and posts and things like that, where they will actually be commenting on the accuracy of them and trying to identify, information that might not be wholeheartedly correct. And they are doing this, Meta are saying it's to remove political bias. So it's not independent people with a certain political viewpoint commenting on posts and removing them or saying that these facts aren't right. They're saying that it's getting back to the community of everybody. But there are some critics of this that say that it could pose a risk for more misinformation and less accountability for people posting online. Again, it's just something to be made aware of that, if your children and yourselves with social media, this could be something that you might see more information isn't necessarily correct coming through, or it might be a real positive move where the misinformation and the disinformation is actually being removed from Meta. So in case you just start seeing random people commenting on posts, that might be what this is all about. So just to make you aware. On to the second to last thing that we're going to talk about today, WhatsApp. There's been a number of different scams and a number of different issues with WhatsApp over the last couple of months, and this has resulted in a rise in what we're calling infiltration into group chats, and that's when people are impersonating others and they're pretending to be companies, and they're changing the profile pictures, they are changing the names on their accounts, and actually pretending to be these big organizations or friends even, and trying to then gain personal information. The most popular scam that's doing the rounds at the moment is asking others to share a verification code to get into like a group call or to join a certain forum. And when people are forwarding those verification codes on or sharing those verification codes, it's actually giving the other people at the other end, the ones who are doing the infiltrating, it's giving them access to their WhatsApp accounts and all of the contact lists and other personal information that may be on there as well. So just something to be really aware of. The message is any verification code that you get through WhatsApp, do not forward it on, do not share it with anybody, because that is potentially a scam that you might fall foul of. And lastly, but certainly not least, Safer Internet Day, Tuesday, the 11th of February. This is a really important worldwide event that happens. Here at school, we'll be doing some quizzes and things with children. We've done an assembly all about how to spot scams. So ask your children about scams at home and what they've learnt. We're talking to them all about trusted adults. Again, personal information linked back to the WhatsApp scams that are going around at the moment. And just really making a big focus of how to stay safe online, because it is something that we all need to practice. It is something that is ever changing. And just like these videos, we try and give you as much education as parents and carers and for the children that we possibly can. So just to make you aware that that is something that if you want to talk to your children about it, please do. As with every time that I do one of these videos, if you have any more information that you want or any guides or anything like that, please get in contact. If you want any specific support from myself, again, please just drop the office an email, get in touch. I'm more than happy to arrange either a meeting or a video call or a phone call, whatever it may be that might help you. Thank you very much.